All right, everyone. Welcome to the Knowledge Podcast. Today I'm here with Joseph. I'm Chris, and we have a special guest, which is Lucas from T.REX ARMS. Lucas, can you give us a quick rundown about yourself, like where you're coming from and what you're known for?
Yeah, so about 7.5 years ago, I started a holster company called T.REX ARMS. I started marketing that on Instagram, didn't post on YouTube. That came a little bit later. I was just making holsters in a garage for handguns primarily. It wasn't doing mag carriers and stuff like that too much. That started to explode. We designed a holster called the Sidecar that incorporates a handgun and a spare magazine into it. And that became very big. It's now a staple holster design for people who conceal carry. We now consist of 71 employees. It's been about 7.5 years since I started the company. We have a YouTube channel. I also do contract training for the military. I shoot a lot as well. A few years ago, I think it was 2018, I shot 100,000 rounds that year. And then it's come down to 80,000 rounds and down to about 60,000 rounds a year in product testing various things, and then also developing other products. We've started producing nylon products as well, plate carriers and chest rigs and things like that. So a lot of product testing, and then, of course, just the normal sort of business stuff that is occurring right now. And I'm a civilian, no military law enforcement background, just a guy who started a company at age 20. And has been having a lot of fun doing it, and now I get to be on a podcast talking to these guys, and it's awesome. So it's been a wild ride.
Maybe a little bit of our background.
Real quick for you, yeah. So Joseph, you start.
So Chris started as a YouTuber doing airsoft videos with sniper rifles, and at that time nobody really was doing gameplay videos, from the shooter's perspective. You can see the BB, flying. And apparently, a lot of people thought this is very satisfying to watch, including myself, because back then I wasn't part of the company. And yeah, it got big. The YouTube channel blew up. And from that, you created a company, selling airsoft replicas and accessories and things like that, and now we are in the business of making airsoft more accessible, I would say.
Exactly.
By making these replicas that are actually working and they last a long time, because in airsoft it's not really a standard that you buy a replica and it just works out of the box. No. Yeah. When I started, the standard was get it and then open it immediately, exchange things, and
then it breaks.
Yeah, do upgrades, and then it hopefully works. But you had to spend a lot of money, and we are trying to change that. And also, we have a YouTube channel where we publish weekly videos, 2 actually. Also, we're doing podcasts with cool people like Lucas from T.REX ARMS, and that's it. Did I forget something?
A bit of the background when it comes to real steel. So I've been at the military for 6 months plus some additional trainings, which was just a couple of weeks. So I do have experience with real firearms, but Joseph does it still, like a lot of his free time. Doesn't have military background, but a lot of range trainings, and like you go to actual,
back when I was at high school, I wanted to become a professional soldier. We don't have like how do you say the Pflicht?
It's not mandatory.
It's not mandatory, yeah, exactly,
to
go to the army. But I always wanted to do that. But then I realized, okay, it's not exactly what would fit me, and I decided to take the alternative route by making money elsewhere and doing only the parts I like about it. So that's what I did. And yeah, I do own real steel firearms. I do regular trainings. We have a guy who trained with tactical response here. That's my favorite instructor, and I kind of went that path, and I mix match everything together. I just take what works for me. But also a lot of airsoft experience as well. 12 years, I think.
For the both of us, we play more than 10 years as of now, so we know pretty much all aspects of the whole game. We became airsoft experts by now, yeah.
I think we can. I mean, probably.
And this is actually one of the reasons why we want to have this podcast, because lately we, where you, Lucas, come into into play is people recognized, you know, in Airsoft your channel a lot more since you started, you know, posting about Airsoft stuff and giving your opinion, you know, you as a, you know, Resteel, trainer and so on. You just, more Airsoft content keeps coming, and here I would like to know, how did this happen? Like, what got you into this? What got you in touch with the topic?
You mean as far as more recently in talking about it and kind of bringing it up, or just my own interest in Airsoft in general?
Maybe in general, like your history with Airsoft and how later then it came onto the channel.
Yeah, so about, I want to say it was like 6 years ago, I found American Milsim. I can't exactly remember how, but I drove out to one of their events, had a lot of fun. It was at the Government Training Institute over on the East Coast. Very cool training facility out there. Ran around, worked with some guys, played with some other folks there, and then I went to a few other events. One of their events out in the desert, and then another one, and then I kind of stopped playing Airsoft, went back and kind of just focused on my business because it was, you know, exploding and focusing on shooting, and then started the YouTube channel, which an important part of this history is a few years into doing that, I noticed a guy on Instagram who made an Instagram page called Liku _tactical. He was a Japanese guy who used airsoft guns. He, you know, can't have real ones there in Japan. And he's doing dry fire. He has a pack timer, a shot timer. He was getting a lot of the same gear that I use, down to the same shirts and the same hats. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. All right. But over watching him for about a year, he got really good. He was really good. So a couple years ago, we actually flew him out here, and we took him to the range for his first time ever shooting real steel firearms. And my kind of theory was he's done so much airsoft and just manipulation, you know, draws, reloads, running around, moving around, you know, with a weapon. My theory was he's actually going to be really good at, you know, using real steel. This will translate over almost perfectly. And it did. That YouTube video now has 7.9 million views, something like that. That video kind of, because as you guys know, there's a big divide between real steel, at least here in the U.S., real steel and the airsoft or milsim community. The real steel folks are like, it's stupid, it's childish, you can't use it for training. And the milsim or airsoft community says, no, you can, you know, take us seriously, or, you know, whatever. They have their own arguments. And so it's just a lot of this going on. And but that video showed people, like maybe airsoft for like firearms manipulation and just training to go over to real steel, it actually has some use. So that video, when that came out a couple years ago, it kind of shut up some of the conversation that was going on about that. But then I was interested in the next step, and that was, where else can milsim or where else can airsoft benefit people from a training perspective? You know, whether they're military, law enforcement, concerned citizen. And then I was thinking back to the events I went to, and I was like, well, I run around all day with my kit, testing my kit. I'm not running a drill for 20 seconds and then I'm done. I'm running around all day. I'm having to use radios and communications. I'm having to work with people I don't know, so I have to figure out how to communicate with them. And I'm at unique training facilities that most people can never get access to. I mean, you guys probably go to some super cool stuff there in Europe that regular people just will never go to, will never get to run around at and just do stuff at. So I was like, you know what? I want to go to another one. So I looked up American Milsim. I was like, I want to go to another one. Oh, this one's at this huge, you know, multi-million-dollar training facility that I personally would like to visit anyway. I'm going to go there, take a couple of my guys. We're going to take our night vision, or I'll take my panos, and we'll run around and see what it's like. And I was like, yep, this is a lot cooler than I remember it being. It's a lot more beneficial now that I have a little more context and understanding of what it can do. I want to make a YouTube video about this for other people. And so it's kind of my goal is eliminating some of that divide between the real steel community and the milsim and airsoft community, and showing here's where it can be useful. There's some stuff airsoft and milsim it can't do well. You don't have range. At least I know y'all have. You have some cool guns that have some range. I understand that. But like, you know, 500 meters, stuff like that. So there's some range limitations. There's some cover penetration limitations. the explosives and the distractionary devices aren't real. Like, there's stuff that's never going to be, one for one. But overall, a lot of the stuff that's happening it's the same stuff. I mean, having to sprint, having to move for miles to get to an objective, having to communicate with people, having to look not just, in front of you on a range, you're just looking at your target doing your thing, but I got to look behind me. I got to look up. There could be people on a third-story building shooting down at us. There's just a lot more stuff that you can get from an event like this than just shooting on a flat range. So my kind of goal is showing that to the real steel community, because that's where I am. I mean, I'm 100%. I would say at this point, 98% real steel for my business and for what I do and training and whatnot. But showing people, here's where this stuff over here can help us over in this area. That's kind of been my goal now, is going to be my goal now, more of my goal moving forward, but kind of got reminded of that earlier this year, hence the video and some content and some planning, possibly our own event at some point, which would be super fun. Maybe get you guys out here.
Airsoft event.
Yes,
Wow.
our own.
Okay.
What I'm
Now
thinking
I'm
is,
curious. Now
yeah,
I'm very interested.
yeah. So what I'm thinking is, and this is where you 12 years of experience, so between you guys is probably 20 something, if not more. But what I'm thinking for the two communities, you got Milsim and Airsoft, and a lot of events. Correct me if I'm wrong. Are 400, 500 people. It's a lot of folks. I'm sure there's some smaller ones. But what do you guys think is the average, at least the events that you go to, how many players are you seeing on average at one of these big airsoft events? Is it 400 or 500 people?
Well, I would say there's different kinds of airsoft events.
Yeah,
like first you have
Sure.
pickup games, which are on a weekly basis. Like every weekend, some
Right.
random, it's either forest or it's an actual field or just like abandoned factory or something.
Mm-hmm.
But then, every once in a while you have big milsims.
I've been to a milsim with 3,000 people. It actually broke the unofficial record.
Wow.
It was in Czech Republic. We used pretty much the whole city. It's like an abandoned city type of thing.
Holy cow.
You had
That's cool.
7, 8-story buildings, like these old Soviet blockhouses. I was all the way on the top. I was overwatching the area, things like that. But it was ridiculous. Like 3,000, don't get me wrong, that's already too much. Like you could shoot a bush and you can be sure that somebody is going to call the hit. And you don't even need to see people. You just shoot into a random.
Yeah, but then I think it also depends on the size of the field, because there's a milsim called Berget in Sweden, which it's also around the 3,000 people mark. But this is a game that lasts for, I think it's 4 days non-stop. So you actually sleep with safety goggles. People are allowed to open the tent and shoot inside, and it's
nice.
I think the average American milsim game, or at least the one that I've been to, which was actually the same facility that you've played at, it's 1 day. You arrive there either the night before, you sleep in a hotel or at the field, boom, you play 1 day and you leave. But there's really like long ongoing games, and I would even say that this is the norm for European milsims.
If you talk milsim, you talk probably 3 days plus.
3 days.
Or two, at least 2, but usually it's 3 days over the whole weekend. Things.
And how many people roughly on average are you seeing at those 2-3 day events? A few hundred?
Minimum 500, I would say. Minimum 500, maximum 3,000.
Yeah. You also have
That's
a whole
insane.
island in Croatia, which is a former submarine base, and you just go there. You have the sea around you, so after the game or in the break, you can just jump into the sea, and then you just get your gear on, and everything is rusting after 2 days. Things like
Nice.
that. The whole island is just airsoft.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's so cool.
I think when it comes to places to play in airsoft, we do have the upper hand. Like we just have amazing
yes,
places
you do.
to play at.
Yes, you do. So having been to some of these events that are 500 people, there are some limitations that I've seen as far as there's a lot of stalemates, which is where airsoft guns are not, and the lack of explosives result in stalemates where people are, they're hiding behind a door. You can't shoot through the door, and the game isn't moving. And so I came away from this recent event and thought, you know what? Maybe what the real steel community and the milsim community need is some sort of hybrid event in the middle that's maxed at 80 or 100 people, and it's sort of a training airsoft type event. So it's 2 days minimum. And what I would do is I would go take active special operations personnel, buddies and people that I have, bring them in to then integrate with the two different teams and basically offer training as the game is going on and chop the game up into rounds depending on what the objective or what kind of location we have. And it's sort of a hybrid training event for people that want to get better at airsoft or tactics or small unit tactics communication. And it's not just 500 people mash them together, get this grind, on a field, but a little more purposeful on the training side. And so you could go to one of those and then take what you learn from that and then go to the larger events, go to the bigger events. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. And I haven't, and maybe people have already done this, or they've, I know American Milsim did their DAM missions, their direct action missions, where it was sort of a scripted event, which I did a couple of those. I thought they were great. Kind of the same thing, have an after action report afterwards, like, hey, you guys shot the hostage. I was the hostage in one scenario. I got shot right away. We don't want to do that. Not a great thing to kill the guy you're rescuing. Like, okay. But trying to figure out a way to create an event that is more accessible to both groups, or maybe is just the next level for, maybe that's what Milsimmers want. Maybe they want an event they can, play alongside some SF dudes and actually learn some, real world techniques they can take to their airsoft games. So that's kind of what I'm thinking through a little bit.
I think for that you really need dedicated people to pull this off, because airsofters, generally speaking, are really, they just want to have fun and they just want to shoot other people and, just get the highest kill streak or whatnot. Yep. And if you introduce like rules, okay, you cannot hide behind a bush, because you could in reality just go through easily. You need really dedicated people who are very much into learning and doing these type of things. I would definitely not go over 100 people for the first one, because it's very hard to control.
I also believe that there's two kinds of airsoft players. Like, the majority of airsoft players, they really just go there for airsoft. They say, I play airsoft for the fun of airsoft. They don't go and say, I play airsoft so I train something that I can use then for real steel. I would say that's like maybe 10%. Maybe 10% of the airsoft community.
No, not even that.
You think it's
not even? I do airsoft for training real steel, like with the main purpose of training real steel, even though it's a big part of that, but I don't go to an airsoft game with the intention of getting better at the range. It's maybe even the other way around, I would say. So I can try things which I cannot try on the range, which by the way is a big part. Why should every real steel guy try airsoft? Because you get to do stuff you are just not allowed to do. Like shooting at people, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where, and I could be completely off as far as European milsim airsoft culture versus American, because I know some countries in Europe, it's easier to get into real steel, or there's more of a real steel community, because I talk to people over there, and I'll actually be flying over for some work here later this year. And that's where, and I could be wrong, as far as the American, milsim community, where it is easier to own real steel firearms, although I don't think very many, kind of like you said, I don't think very many people here are doing airsoft specifically for, their work. They're in the military, or they carry a real steel firearm. They want to try some things. But I had a remarkable amount of messages from people after my video recently who said, yep, I'm 5th Special Forces Group, I'm in this military unit, I go to these events to do this and this because it's additional training outside of my work. And so I've had some of that. And so there may be some difference in the cultures of, the United States milsim community, but I would agree that the majority just go for fun and airsoft, and they're not as interested beyond that. And so this event is sort of for that small segment of people that want more, maybe, and who want to, or by having less people, maybe there's some cool stuff at the event you can do that you just can't swing with 500 people or 3,000 people, which that's a logistical nightmare. I'll just say, for 3,000 players, that's props to whoever ran that event, because that sounds like a nightmare, as all things considered. But yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking through it. The wheels are turning, and then a night vision only event would be super fun too. I'd love to do that. That's another kind of event entirely, though.
I have one point to like the military guys who do airsoft. My experience is exactly the opposite. So I have 8 or 10 friends who are in the military, and they usually stopped playing airsoft because of military, because they spend the whole week in the uniform, and they don't want to go to an airsoft field to play soldiers again.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yep.
So that's my experience.
It's also the only time I stopped playing airsoft in the last 12 years was actually the 6 months of military. Because I'm done with this. Like, thanks everyone. I really thought I'm not going to play airsoft again. But after military was over, it was kind of, I just need the feeling again.
Props to the guys who do that. Because
do both.
Even for me, like I'm here all the time. There is guns everywhere. There is like airsoft, and then on the weekend go to play airsoft. I mean, it's still fun.
Yeah,
but it kind of turns into
it does
kind of
becomes too regular.
It's real still for me. Later today, we're going to the range with some stuff, and it's not super fun for me either. So. It is what it is. When you do it a lot, it gets old.
Exactly. I think everybody who's listening is like, how these guys can say this? Like,
how can you complain about your work? Yeah.
You get to work in what you like, and guns and everything.
Yeah.
But once it turns into your work, it's sometimes tiresome.
I don't know if it becomes your work. I think that's not the issue. I think the issue is if you do it just all the time. Yeah. If it consumes all your life.
Which it seems like this is a huge passion for you guys, so that's probably what you all are doing. Is that correct?
Yeah,
it consumes everything.
5 days a week, working in the office, just developing making beer, and then on the weekend we go play. So it's like 6 days a week. One day not airsoft, the rest is just airsoft. That's our life.
So how often do you guys come to the States to play?
I've never been to the States.
Really?
Want to go there, but.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I mean, I was a poor student. I couldn't afford to go to the States. And then I did some internships, and then I started, working. And then when I finally had the money to do something, I got here, and then Corona, and you always find excuses. But this time, I'm like, once the border opens, I'm definitely gonna fly over there. I have friends to train there, real steel. Visit them, take some classes, because I'm really curious to see how it works over there. With real steel and shooting. But anyways, let's talk about airsoft.
Yeah. You're more than welcome to come here, though. So,
thank you.
Open.
Thank you. I would definitely join you.
Awesome.
So I was in the US, I think twice now. I stayed 3 months like my base was in LA, but I was traveling the entire country for airsoft. And I was playing at the same field that you played in I think it's called Guardian Center, is it?
Yep.
So I did do the direct action mission with the subway. We did the exact same thing. I don't know if it's still the same, but back when I did it, man, I was overwhelmed by it. Even though this was past my military experience, and I played airsoft already for a couple of years. I think it was intense. I felt like I'm not ready for this. It's hard to explain, but when you go to, first of all, in the military, we didn't have such intense simulations. Like, it was way more dry training and stuff, like race training. Yeah. And like the average pickup game or the average game that I played in Europe was nothing like this. There wasn't blanks going off and grenades exploding and people shouting at you and smoke and you don't see anything. It's just flashlights flashing at you. So I gotta say it was really intense, that mission. I'm actually wondering how it was for you. Like, that mission, was it easy for you, or did you feel like, man, I still need to improve here and there to handle this?
I honestly prefer the missions. I prefer all of that. That hasn't been, so what I actually, kind of going back to my background, before I started my company, I was a volunteer firefighter for about 1.5 years. And so, granted, some of the training there is not they don't always throw all the stuff at you. But going to, incidents on the interstate, lots of flashing lights, people screaming, bodies potentially, that definitely helped prepare me for some of that stuff. And so I actually prefer, which is why I'm interested in the hybrid kind of smaller game where you can do more of that. Because that's what I prefer. And I know some guys, like the ones who love the damn missions, like they want more of that. They want the Call of Duty feel of guys roping off of a building on rappel, shooting into the windows, which you can't really do in a real game because you can't really script it. And that's why I'm particularly interested in a smaller game like that and the logistics behind it and how that would actually work. And I really shouldn't have said that on this. It's fine though that I did, because now people are going to ask, well, when is it happening? When are you doing it? Where is it going to be? And
we're going to be part of that.
We'll see what happens, but we want to do it. We want to, at some point it's going to happen. It's just a matter of the right people, the right place, the right organization, and the right subject matter experts who can be there to help people. And just join in with them. And because I've seen that here. I mean, we've all seen Milsim is big at impersonating military units. Guys go out and try to look like, SEALs or, Delta or whoever.
We always say it's a fashion show.
It really is. That's something I noticed the first time I went out. And the funniest part that I remember seeing is the guys who had the fanciest, Gucciest kit were the ones who were playing the least. And I was like, all right.
Yes, because they don't want to get their pants dirty, cry precision.
Yeah,
but isn't this similar when you go to the range as well? Like the guy who just runs on occasions the best?
Yes,
and the guy
We also had this in a training on the range. It started raining like hell, and the guys with cry precisions left, like...
Yep, that happens a lot. Yeah, it's raining right now. We're going anyway. And that's just how it is. But we have that here. We've got people that they love to play dress up. They love to put on all this stuff, which is funny because people always ask me, why do you just wear jeans to the range? I'm like, because that's what I wear all the time. Like, I don't need to wear cries to, and I actually prefer games where I can wear jeans, but there's not very many. They usually want me to wear like multicam or cries, and I was like, I want jeans. So
really?
we need more games that allow civilian factions so that I can wear what I'm wearing right now. That would be great.
You mean the airsoft games?
Yeah. I want to be a contractor in every airsoft game and wear jeans.
I'm actually thinking about switching to contractor apparel. Just, for the heck of it, why not? Everybody looks the same here. Everybody's wearing camo, even though nobody needs that. You can bring anything you want. There is, kids or people are just running around with, sweatpants and a hoodie, and it's fine.
They usually play the best.
They usually do.
Exactly, yeah.
It works. It doesn't matter what you have on you.
Yeah.
It's about what you can do.
But we do have in Europe Milsims with contractors, which you actually can, so there's several sides of conflict, and you have the insurgents, and you have usually the task force, and then you actually have the contractors, and you can actually, there's in-game money. You can bribe the contractors. You can pay the contractors to actually work for you. You can bring them with you.
Oh,
and
that's awesome.
Wear exactly what you're wearing. You have a cap. Yeah, they have a cap, and they have to wear jeans. Yeah. And there's like a tan jacket. Yeah. So that exists in games.
Yeah, that's fun.
And then
that's cool.
And this way you can also very well balance the game. If you see it's stuck somewhere, you just say to the contractors, hey, go there and mix it up a little, so that it's moving more. And I actually really like this when organizers do this, because then it's not just stuck in one place. Like you said, somebody hiding behind a door and you cannot really get him out of there, even though it's possible, but most people just don't, storm the building.
So you just send some contractors right into this.
Yeah.
to fix it. Yeah.
That sounds like and I was talking to Bo at AMS, and I was like, man, we need to run a Tarkov game of some sort where you've got Bear and USEC and then Scav players. And I don't know if anyone's done that in Europe yet, but I'm kind of surprised. If no one's done that yet, I'm kind of surprised, to be honest. I don't know if you guys play Tarkov. I'm sure you know all about it, but I've been getting into it. I don't know. Has anyone done any games based off of the Tarkov games and the factions and stuff?
I haven't heard about anything.
That's
like that.
surprising, to be honest. Maybe I'll do it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
That'd be
I
fun.
actually don't know what you're talking about because I haven't played the game really, so I'm not sure.
So it's kind of the same concept. You have two teams of mercenaries, and then you have these scavenger guys who don't have allegiance to anyone, and they're like already on the map, already doing their own thing, which is basically what you're describing to kind of mix it up. So there's three teams, and I'm just surprised nobody has taken that and made like an official event based off of that, because I know, I mean, especially in Europe, because you have locations that look the same, and then it's basically American contractors, Western contractors versus Russian, Eastern European contractors, and then these scavenger guys in the middle, which should make for a very interesting game, being able to throw them around. The organizers could have them do weird stuff, and then the other two teams are doing their own thing.
I think there is similar type of games, but we don't call them Tarkov, or at least I haven't seen anything like that. But it works in a similar way.
Similar way. Yep.
Yeah. Also, to get back to the bigger Milsims, where you said how do they organize 3,000 people? It's very different to how American Milsim is played, because American Milsims, I think there's really just two fractions, clashing onto each other, and that's it.
Right.
But when you look at games like Border War, for example, which is happening in Czech Republic, you do have multiple fractions. So you have the task force, you have the insurgents, you have the contractors. But also within the task force and within the insurgents, it's not as easy as just game start and everyone just starts running. It's very well organized. You have different teams and squads, and each squad needs to have a radio, and they need to be in constant contact with the HQ, and there's literally just 5 guys sitting in the HQ with 5 radios and just having everything arranged.
Like how it should work. They
Yeah,
are
it's-
trying to get to the military.
That's very cool.
Very much a military simulation. And also when you walk out of your base, you do get in a it's a huge field. It's like 10 kilometers times 10 kilometers. So it's incredibly big. And it's not, in American Milsim, you walk out for, I don't know, within 5 minutes you usually have enemy contact, but in games like this, it can happen to you that you walk for 7 hours and there's not a single enemy contact. And you also try to avoid it. It's not like, your goal is maybe to scout a certain area, but you're not supposed to shoot people actually. It's very different to American Milsim here.
If you want to play airsoft and actually shoot, then just don't go to Milsim.
Yeah, exactly.
That's usually
Right,
what it is.
right.
Sometimes you get contact, but sometimes it's like you're just walking around. And if you don't enjoy this aspect of walking around and looking around and always being on your toes, I think that's the proper way to say it.
Yes.
Then you are kind of just bored. You're just bored.
So what do you guys prefer? The airsoft shooting constantly, close quarters, quick rounds, or the Milsim, I guess, immersion of what you all just described? What do you all prefer?
So for us, it's not just about the fun, it's also about making a good video. So the more contact you get, the better. But to be fair, on Milsims, you just have those situations happening where you catch, 20 people completely off guard. Like you lie in the bush and they just walk past you and you all like get the
Great video. Great video.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It makes for great videos, but then you have to, fly out beautiful street age, which can be fun, but it can also be really frustrating if you just have in mind that you have to make a good video, and since 8 hours you didn't get a single enemy contact.
Sitting in a bush.
Yeah, exactly. It's just it can be very frustrating.
Me personally, I prefer to separate this, because if I want to play airsoft, I go to a regular pickup game and I just play. I get a lot of. I love CQB action. Like CQB, that's exactly what I prefer. If I can take buildings over forest, I will always go to the building and just do all the cool stuff we train on the range. And forest doesn't really cut it for me, because you have the range limitation and the penetration limitation. And if I want to spend time in the forest, I just grab my team and we go for a survival overnight or over the weekend, and we sleep in winter outside and we do all these survival things, spend time in the forest, and that's enough for me. I don't necessarily need to have airsoft replicas there. So that's
awesome.
That's how I like it. I don't really Milsims.
But it's also very different. Like, some people like to play airsoft just for the aspect of camouflage. Yeah? They're all about just perfecting their ghillie suit that even if you, 5 meters away, it's really hard to tell that they're there. And, they put artificial leaves on their suits and stuff like this. So there's very different kinds of...
Right.
Which is also very different to real steel. Like, because an airsoft player can run a sniper rifle or an assault rifle or an LMG. And I have yet to see a guy who goes to the range and does target practice with an LMG. Like, I haven't seen that yet.
I will. I've got one.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Where do you
done a
live,
little
actually?
bit.
Where do you live?
I live in Nashville, or outside of Nashville, so in Tennessee. So the patron state of shooting stuff. So, we've got all kinds of stuff.
Close to Hickok 45, right?
That is correct, yeah. And James Yeager. Yep. We're right. They're all right here.
You mentioned the ghillie suit. How interesting are ghillie suits for the real steel shooters and perhaps military guys, things like that?
I haven't seen. So I have a couple. I want to focus more on precision, long range stuff, and then I also want to work on the ghillie suit camouflage aspect to go in conjunction with that. But I don't see guys going to the range, using that, or going out when they shoot long range precision, 1,000 meters plus, worrying about the camouflage aspect. They're just worrying about shooting. There are some cool events here in the States, two-man competitions where you'll have two snipers and they'll have like a 15K, 20K, basically movement they have to make with shooting positions along the way, where they have to quickly arrange. They have 2 minutes to shoot all the targets at this one. They pack up their stuff, they bag it, and then they move another 10K to the next. But even at those, they don't focus on camouflage. It would be cool to have a training class or some sort of, I guess educational content for people to know, because like for me, I'm not military. I haven't gotten to go and do all that. I haven't been to sniper school or anything. But basically, for this portion, we're going to focus on camouflaging, sneaking around, moving around, not shooting. And here's how you build out your ghillie suit. Here are considerations for camouflage. And then you basically have guys downrange try to find you. If they can't, you succeed. But I haven't seen a whole lot of real steel people focusing on the camouflage aspect because they haven't needed to. I mean, steel targets don't shoot back, so like we don't have to.
They don't even run.
Yeah, they don't run. They just kind of sit there. And that's where Milsim and airsoft is cool, because there is actually a reason to be camouflaged. I mean, I've seen y'all's videos where I just watched the other night the snow one with like 20 million views. I mean, there's a lot of camouflage going on at an event like that, hiding in the snow, in trees. Like you have to have decent camouflage if you want to, not be seen first, and have a bit of an advantage. And that's one reason I like Milsim and airsoft, because real steel guys like me who go to the range just wearing this, we don't have to care. Well, now if we go to a desert game or a winter game, maybe we have to, select some different clothing or gear, spray paint it or wrap it or do something to it so we're not quite as visible. So there isn't a good way to train that with real steel that I've found. That's where I think Milsim is actually better. And it can clearly be seen on your YouTube and what you guys are doing. Plus that video was super cool. Super cool.
Nice.
Thanks. Why I'm actually asking is because we recently developed our new camouflage system, and maybe you might be interested. Maybe we can send you a piece or two.
I'm interested. I'm always interested.
If you are planning on doing some of the,
It's very different, however, to like ghillies the way you know them, because the way ours is constructed is it's a mesh base with the 3D leaf sewn onto, and you can actually plug. So we developed artificial leaves there, which is
leaves?
Oh, nice.
You can get some. You can actually plug it into the suit. So, like even when you the leaf, when you hold it in front of your eye, even then it looks like a real leaf, right? So you plug it onto your suit.
Oh wow, yeah.
And it works fairly well, yeah. But we can send you one.
So you could quickly change some of the colors on it. Ah,
exactly.
It's like a Lego.
I like that.
You just plug the leaves on there and you're good to go. Yeah. We're gonna get one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, we already have them. Let's see. At least for the viewers watching on. We still need to open the box. Yeah. So we recently developed that, and you know, for airsoft, it's totally interesting because you have people as enemies, and you don't want to be seen. So this is how it looks. Those are the artificial leaves.
Yep. Oh, nice.
And they, you know, if you put them on, they just stand out to break up your silhouette, you know, as it should be. And we have these pins. Basically, you just have a pin, and you like this, if you can see it.
Yep.
And that's how you connect it, and then kind of works.
Just go through the mesh.
If you're interested,
Wow.
we
Yeah,
can hook you up with
absolutely.
something.
No, I go and collect everything I can, and I'm in a unique position with my job where, since I go and self-fund everything, new scopes coming out, new lasers and new stuff, what I often have are units that write to me going, hey, we see you just got this thing. We don't have it yet because our bureaucracy and procurement, we're not going to have it for a year. But what do you think about it? I mean, you've got, you know, all 20 popular scopes on the market, and you just got this new one. How does it compare? And I've taken gear to team rooms and stuff to show them. And so seeing, you know, another ghillie suit option on the market for, you know, some of those guys who ask, I'm very interested. Some of the products I get, though, I'll use it once or twice, kind of play with it, see what it's like, and then I have to move on to the next thing. But having that perspective of, yeah, these guys over in Europe, Austria, is that correct?
Austria.
Vienna. You know, they have this thing, which, you know, is more adaptable on the fly if you need to go to alpine, tundra, brown, or whatever it is. So yeah, I'm very interested. Plus, I want to go over to, I want to fly out west to do some long range because I can't really do that here in Tennessee. So I'll just fly somewhere, get all my stuff, and just drive, you know, 4-wheel drive around, get out, shoot 1,000 yards, get back in, drive around, hike, whatever. But it'd be fun to have something like that to practice with when I go on that trip, which hopefully I can do soon. Because long range is cool. I just haven't been able to do a whole lot of it, which I guess you can't do as much with airsoft, but oh well. It is
Well,
what
not
it is.
even in real steel here in Europe because there is no long ranges really, because, you know, everything is dense, and you need probably like 10 kilometers around that just to be safe, and we don't have like deserts and mountains. So.
What's the max effective range of your bolt action rifles?
It depends on which spring you put inside, but I would say if you're like really, really lucky and all different factors are perfect, I would say 80 meters. Yeah, 80 meters effective range.
You can effective. You can hit over 100 meters perhaps with strong springs, but that's usually.
But then you
not
need
the
2 or
case.
3 BBs. Yeah.
Yeah, and also fields limit the power because you don't want to injure somebody, and if somebody is running with a really strong spring in the sniper rifle and he hits you from 5 meters, 6 feet, or I don't know how, you know, then it's so they limit the power, so it's questionable if it's 100 or 120 or 80, depends on the power. And
but I would say it's around, like, effective range 80 meters where you can say, okay, I see the guy, I can hit him.
You can even make a headshot. Yeah. If somebody's like peeking around the corner, I think.
Oh, I've seen it. Oh, I've seen your videos. I know it can be done. In fact, seeing your videos made me go, you know what? Maybe I want a bolt gun for the next game I go to. Maybe I want to be a sniper as much as I like, you know, room clearing and stuff. Maybe I want to hang back and actually be able to shoot far away and not be like, I see them. I can't do anything. So maybe that's what I want to do next time.
That's the cool part about airsoft. You just don't do it for the pure training and efficiency. You can just do ridiculous stuff. You know, I put a red dot on a sniper rifle. I took the power down, and I was clearing buildings with the bolt action.
I mean, hey, if it works, it works.
Yeah, it worked very well. I really enjoyed that. You tried it as well.
Yeah,
it's perfect. You can, and you know, I would also say it pushes you even further because you are limited in one shot with the long rifle, and you really have to pick your shots and be very precise. So even this ridiculous thing, I think it's valuable for the real steel shooter as well, because you need to kind of, in the heat of the moment, you need to be focused, and you need to you know, just track the target if he's running across, things like that. You need to, of course, you need to aim like 2 meters in front because, you know, the BB takes some time to get there. Yeah, you can do whatever you want. Pump action shotguns, miniguns. We even have miniguns in airsoft.
I can buy one of those too, but it's just too expensive. A real one, about $80,000.
Oh,
So, I think the ammo. The ammo's the worst part.
The airsoft one is 700, I think, 800.
700?
We have one. We have one. It's fun. You have unlimited ammo, basically.
Yeah, you just
need to-
pour it. You pour the ammo like this.
Yeah.
Like with a water bottle.
Just like on a real one.
Almost.
You don't have all the weight. That's fun.
Lucas, I was wondering, when you went to the AMS event, which of the tactics that you teach on your channel, like, I don't know, tactical reload, speed reload, stuff like this, which ones did you feel like were extremely useful during the game, and which ones did you think, why do people even train this? This is not useful at all, actually.
I would say, so I did, because Airsoft, we were running mid-cap, so we had, I think, 80 rounds per magazine, I think is what we were allowed, 70. So I did a couple reloads here and there. I had to do one speed reload in the middle of engaging. Oh, shoot, I got to reload. And was running all of that from a plate carrier. I was running no belt, a handgun mounted underneath the plate carrier. And that was great. I would say that my skill and how much time I've put into speed reloading helped there. I never used my handgun. I never needed to. I had it there though, because hey, why not? Going up a ladder it's convenient, but there were no ladders. So we weren't allowed to go up ladders, so whatever. There wasn't anything in particular that I was like, man, this doesn't work. Although the one thing is with Milsim and Airsoft, the disparity of player skill when it comes to marksmanship versus real steel, like you don't have to be a super accurate, airsoft shooter to get rounds on target. But in real steel, if you want, good rounds on target, there is a level of marksmanship and sight alignment that you have to have. So my skill and marksmanship that I've practiced, I didn't derive any benefit from especially with the guns I was using, and we had light BBs because all the heavy BBs are like sold out and we couldn't get them. I had no marksmanship ability with airsoft, so that's just how it is, the limitations. I'm sure with your guns, your bolt guns and zeroing, it's a different story. You have one shot. There is a level of marksmanship you have to have, but for most people, just spraying, not seeing a side picture, not looking through their red dot, the wind carrying their BBs, there's no marksmanship standard or requirement. But there was nothing in particular. I never transitioned to a pistol. I didn't do that. I don't think I've ever done that at a airsoft event. In the heat of the moment, bolt lock, go to pistol. I don't think I've ever had to do that. But most of the event is running around, talking to people, communication, and then target identification, which is, in my opinion, is the most important stuff that I get out of those events, because I get the firearms, handling at the range, later today, but I don't get the 6 miles of movement in a day with communication, with target identification, with certain CQB, situations. But the real steel training, all of that still worked. Muzzle awareness, trigger discipline. There's a lot of airsoft players that don't. I can't tell you how many people, and it takes training. Just if I'm holding a door, I see a guy walking over, I go to high ready, come back down. Like that takes training and awareness to be able to do that. And we have GoPro footage showing that, and it was very seamless. And I don't know that I'm doing it because I've just trained it a lot, and it just happens. But yeah, there were a lot of people just aiming at everyone, and probably the safety was off.
Finger on the trigger as well.
Finger
That's
on
a
the
big
trigger.
part of airsoft. How do you cope with that? You are probably just like me, even more so. Like you see all the fingers and you just cannot how do you do that?
It's fine. It's okay. It's all right. I just as long as they don't shoot me and I have to shoot back, it's okay. It's all right. Because they're there for a different reason, and that's fine. Like it would be foolish of me to think everyone is going to be there for the same reasons I'm there, or that they should be there for the same reasons I'm there. Some people are just there for fun, and some people are just starting out. But we actually had, because I had I had 3 of my guys with me, and we all do real steel. And one of my buddies is also an instructor, a real steel instructor. We had a bunch of guys fall in with us, and then we basically started showing them like, hey, here's how we do, we deal with a doorway before we go in. We pie it from the outside, and then you go off of your second guy, and blah blah blah. And they actually started kind of falling in and doing kind of what we were doing, having a little more muzzle awareness. And so, kind of my theory is, if you dropped, some guys in, some SF guys or some, real steel instructors into some of these events, I think a lot of people would see that and be like, wow, that's a lot cooler than whatever I'm doing. Like, I'm just like doing this and aiming my gun at everyone, and these guys are actually manipulating their weapons around guys. They're being safer. It also looks cooler. I should probably be doing that instead of just, walking around flagging everyone. Granted, but not everyone's interested in that. Not everyone's there for the same reasons. But I think if more, guys were involved in some of these events, with, some of that background, we would actually see more people being interested in it, because it's, a cultural shift. I'm sure more people, airsoft players, are using bolt-action rifles because of your videos than before, where they see it being viable, and they're like, oh, he's doing cool stuff, I want to do that. And that's really how it works. I mean, you guys could start doing, if you guys started doing pistol only in crazy YouTube videos or something weird, I bet in 6 months that would be the new thing. Like, everyone would want to do that, and then you can go do something else, and then everyone will do that, because that's how it works. People want to do what's in, what's trendy, and so if we make muzzle awareness trendy, well, then they'll want to do muzzle awareness, and it's like, okay, good.
I wish that would work.
Well, I'm working on it.
I think this brings us back that, reasons why people play airsoft. Because for Joseph, he would always do muzzle awareness. Yeah. He always, but I mean, I learned it in the military. It's just hardwired into my brain with the finger, the trigger discipline and all this. But you're just not a better airsoft player if you have your finger off the trigger. You're just not. Like, you don't need it.
I would argue you are.
You are. Yeah.
You are.
Why?
Why? It's properly done. That's how it should be. That's why we do it. I mean, in the end, airsoft is simulating a conflict or a military or something. Yeah. Why don't adapt these things which are ultimately way better? Like, if I have my finger like this, I'm not gonna accidentally shoot a guy who's having a sausage for a lunch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, and for me as well, like, when I transitioned to real steel, I mean, airsoft helped me tremendously.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't scared of the thing. I knew how it works, because the pistols look pretty much the same, right? So everything is kind of, it helps. So why not adapting? Oh, there we go, the big guns. But there is a battery, okay, finger off the trigger.
But you can argue, okay, for example, because you said you should do what makes sense in real steel, or at least the trigger discipline, but I can give you tons of examples here that actually make you, if you stick to the real steel stuff, it makes you a worse airsoft player. And one of them is, like, when you fire a real gun, you wanna really shoulder it, like,
right.
as centered to your chest as possible, right? But as an airsoft player, what you wanna do actually, you wanna have your stock here, yeah? You wanna have it here. Because you expose yourself a lot less, right?
Right.
You go like this, and the corner is right here, and only exposes your gun, a little bit of your hand, and your eye. But if you start going around the corner like this, and you do it properly, like C-clamp your gun to get full control, you get shot more likely.
To be fair, it can be done with a real steel gun as well.
I'll go do it. I'll do it today. I'll do a video. Yeah.
There you go.
The recoil control is bad, but
you can just do blind fire like that.
Just over the top.
Yeah, that's actually not allowed in airsoft. You're not allowed to blind fire.
Yeah.
Which I think is one of the stupid rules in airsoft. Why shouldn't it be allowed if I can do it in real steel?
It's a safety, but that's the same. Like, here we just even we two disagree. Yeah? For me, airsoft is not a combat training. It's a game that should be fun for everyone. And if you just hold your gun around the corner like this and you shoot, the enemy has no chance of hitting you. So it's an unfair practice. I think it's just not fair.
No, unfair practice. I mean, conflicts are usually unfair. I mean, if you try to play fair, you will die if something happens. But anyways. What I think is a valid point not to do this is civilians. Sometimes there is civilians walking into the field. maybe there is somebody cleaning the goggles, you know, stupid idea, of course.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it happens. It does happen. And if you
Yeah.
don't see your target, you cannot identify, you cannot confirm that you can actually pull the trigger, even though I doubt that people go this far and think about it, really. You should see.
Are there events that have non-combatants? I would say that are part of the event. So you're going somewhere, a bunch of people are there, so you can't just shoot anyone.
There is, how do you call this, the LARP events?
Okay,
Live role action play.
Yep.
Yes.
So you have like people who you can play cards with them and win something.
It's civilians, basically. Yeah. It happens in the game I talked about in Sweden, which is 3,000 people, and also at Bordeaux, which is in Czech Republic. Both of them are 3,000 participants, and there's always something called the village, which is civilians, and they actually have another fraction, which is the police of the civilians, and they, for example, don't allow you to go inside the village if you have your magazine inside your gun, and those, like, they do run around, and they're not specially marked, they just wear civilian clothes, and if you shoot them, I mean, it's not that you get banned from the game or something, but you're not supposed to shoot them, it's civilians.
Yeah. Interesting. Huh. Well, so that's something I've been thinking about, because kind of going back to your saying with blind fire and being aware of your, you know, your target's foreground and background is, and granted, I don't know who wants to go to a game and play someone who doesn't have a gun. Like, I understand that and can't shoot and play, but trying to implement some of that in like a smaller game where you actually have people running around and so you don't know, you know, is that a bad guy? Is that on the opposing team? No, it's not. Can I? You know, that whole kind of, you know, can I shoot? No, I can't. Yes, I can. No, I can. No, I can't. Kind of feeling, which you get in a normal game, because you'll see someone and be like, are they on my team? Okay, yeah, they are. I don't have to shoot. A little bit. But I kind of want to implement civilians. I just don't know, unless they're people who are paid to be there, I'm not sure exactly how that would work.
They have to be very dedicated. I mean, there is people who do this. It's also, if you are on a game, it's also enjoyable to just, you know, be there and see and do things. Watch also, but for the most part, I'm not sure.
I don't think it's too hard, actually. When you look at Bordeaux, I think there's, on those 3,000 people, you have 30 civilians. And also when you look at Milsim West, which is happening in the US, and I definitely recommend you to go to one of those games.
Yep.
They do have even, how do you call it, like a reporter that goes to war, basically, a conflict reporter.
Yes.
I guess.
Yep.
So they have like a blue high visibility vest that says press on it, and they actually run around with a camera and take pictures there. So
That's fun.
they can be shot, but they are usually part of a fraction, and you also should shoot them. And there's also, there is this at the Milsim West games. There is civilians, and they're not paid to be there. They just, you know, it's also a fraction. Exactly.
Well, that's what we need. So I'm curious from you. You're the experts of airsoft, and I'm the new guy. I'm coming in. What do you guys think would make the airsoft community or airsoft games? What do you think is lacking, or what do you think could be done better from the community or from games?
For me, it's definitely organization.
Okay.
So faster, you know, you go there and usually spend an hour on the field just doing nothing.
And getting a safety briefing.
Which
you've heard 100 times already.
Yeah. I mean, it's necessary for the new guys, of course, but it can be kept, you know, like 10 minutes perhaps, and really like somebody who just says, everybody here, now, everybody go there, now, and you go there, and we start in 5 minutes, and we actually stick to the 5 minutes. Things like that. It's very, if you don't have like a strong hand on these people, it's like running around and chit-chatting and showing off their new plate carrier and, hey, I got this, I got that. It's a lot of chit-chat.
Fashion show. Yeah.
Fashion show, yeah.
Just like on a range. It's not any different.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I've got some great kit I'm taking to the range today. It's super cool looking. So you're not wrong.
Joseph was wondering if you were running your plates in your carrier.
I'm sure you were, but...
Absolutely, 100%. And yes, those are real Pano night vision, yes. I actually should have gotten them out. They're down here. So yeah, real plates, yeah.
Wow. I mean, in your case, it's not a surprise. But I recently got a set of steel plates as well. I'm wondering if I should get them. They are lightweight.
It's going to be heavy. Yeah. So what I had, in all fairness, I have some very nice polyceramic plates that only weigh, I think it's 4 pounds each, 4.5 pounds each. Steel is going to be, kilograms, of course. 1.9 kilograms, I think.
What? Each?
Maybe
1.9?
I think that's right. See, I use meters, not yards, but I don't use kilograms. I use pounds. But steel plates weigh generally a lot more, like 30 to 40 to 50% more. And then I have some other plates that are about $1,200 a plate. Those are level 4 multi-hit special cool plates, and those are also about 4 pounds. 1.9 kilo, I think. I don't know. I don't know how many kilograms it is to a
4 pounds. That's 1.8 kilograms.
Okay, so I guess I was
That's
about right.
Steel plates, 1.8.
So you have 1.8. Oh, okay. Wow.
So
yours are
4
actually
pounds
pretty
for one steel plate?
they should actually be more than that. Do you know what yours weigh, or have you gotten them yet?
Yeah, it's around 6 kilograms, which is 14 pounds both. And they are the armor.
Yeah, so this is a level 4 plate right here, and this weighs, it doesn't say on the back, of course. This is I would say this is about 6 or 7 pounds, and this is a inexpensive level 4 plate, and it's a size medium.
Is it ceramic?
That's good. Yes, more or less, it is. Yep.
Okay.
So it multi-hit, great armor. But yeah, I wore armor for the first day, and then, or the first half, and then when I ran my night vision, I just wore a chest rig and a backpack, and then I had my night vision and lasers and all that good stuff. Actually, because I know I don't know how developed the night vision sort of world in Europe is. Do you have people wearing night vision, or a lot of people wearing night vision in European games?
How developed? It's the same. We can get stuff from the US.
Oh, okay, already.
No, there are people especially at the bigger milsims. There is usually entire squads running night visions. You have, for example, on border war, you do have people because there's vehicles as well on border war. There's helicopters as well, actually. You can even fly with helicopters, and there's tanks. You can jump on a tank and drive around. But people, there's people who only go to these games to play at night, actually. Like, they sleep during the day, and then at night they jump into the car, they turn off the lights on the car, and they actually drive with night vision through the forest. Which is absolutely creepy. Like, if you play without a night vision, you hear a car, but you can't see it. It's horrible. Like, you're so afraid that it's gonna drive over you.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's people who play only at night, and they
really,
because I would say 97% of the milsim community does not run night visions, but 3% of 3,000 people is still, it's still a big number, and they're killing it. Like, they go into the HQs, they go into the camps, and they take down maybe a squad of 5 people. They take down like hundreds of players because they're in such a big advantage.
Wow! Whoa! Such a big advantage. Man, I played with NVGs, decent ones. We borrowed them from the Czech military, like the helicopter pilots use them. I don't know what it is. I'm not an expert. I don't really care much about NVG. But they were decent. But still, at night in a forest, I couldn't really see people if they were not moving. It wasn't such a big advantage. It didn't make me...
You need to train it. You need to train it.
You need to train at seeing people?
It sounds weird, but at least the night visions that we had at the military, you had two ways to look inside, but there's only one tube inside.
Yes.
So you lose three-dimensional seeing, and it's incredibly hard in the beginning, but once you use it for like, let's say 16 hours total, at some point it feels very natural.
It's not that I had issues with seeing or orienting myself. The issue was I couldn't distinguish a person next to a tree.
Oh, okay.
Like if you are like leaning against a tree, I don't see you, like nothing. The best was when somebody was using a flashlight nearby, and then it kind of lights it up and you get it magnified. That was good. But with just a night vision, I wasn't feeling any superior. It actually made made me a worse player, I would say. If I would have a decent flashlight, like an O-light or a Phoenix at least, that's the, I would say, the top you can use in airsoft to justify the cost at least. Then I think I would be better off. I would be probably better off than with night vision.
And that's what we ran into at the American Milsim game, is they had so much ambient light, all the street lights were on and stuff, that we didn't have much of an advantage with the night vision. And what a lot of people do is they wear night vision to get to the objective or to the house. So they're out in the woods, it's dark, and as soon as they get to the objective, they flip night vision up and they go white light because you can see more. I mean, with night vision, I've got, with binos, I have this much. With panos, I have that much. And with a single tube, I've got this. But if I run white light, I get all the way to my peripheral, shining my light and other people's lights. So I was constantly going night vision up, night vision down, night vision up, night vision down. Because there were times where it wasn't an advantage just because there was so much light already. And night vision, because it's more single color, it does eliminate being able to see, what color uniform they're wearing, distinguishing, the color of, say, in your case, a tree versus what a person is wearing. That's where night vision has limitations, and that's why there's the thermal units that are the fusion units where you have thermal as well as night vision, so you can see an outline around someone in the forest, which is great, although very expensive and a little heavier, and it drains batteries faster. But night vision in certain conditions is great, but in a lot of conditions, white light it's better because I can see more, I can see color, I can get full peripheral. It's just more effective. But it also depends on your tube quality, how much ambient light there is, if you have an IR light. So if you had an IR flashlight that you could turn on that's not visible, to people without night vision, then you would have had a big advantage because you could just be like, is that a person? Oh, that is. And he has no idea he's getting beamed by an IR light, and then you can just go to town.
That's true, yeah.
Or
that
like
would
a
make
good
difference.
laser. Yeah, but it does depend. And there is some training with depth perception, and then also just the perception of, because you're working with a single color, distinguishing objects and stuff. And I've spent, I don't know how many hours under night vision now driving. My work car has a blackout switch, and I've got IR lights on all four sides, so I drive with night vision, here and there. And it just takes time to get used to, and you put it on, and then you don't have the feeling of, a lot of people that put on night vision, they have the feeling of, man, I feel like I can't see very much. That takes a little while to get over. And now when I put it on, I'm like, oh, I can see everything.
Is that even allowed? Like, to drive such a car?
It's on dirt roads in the country. But on the interstate, if I went and drove on the highway, it'd be hard for them to see me going. I mean, I'd be, lights out, but if they caught me, not great.
So it was on a private property, I assume.
Yeah, and dirt roads and stuff where no one is. But I've snuck up behind people too. They're driving real slow. I get up behind them. I read their license plate. I focus my night vision. They don't even know I'm there. It's fun, but it's good training. It's good training. So.
Well, yeah. I mean, real world training is the best.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but the problem is I can't take those to Europe if I come out to play, at one of your big events out there. I can't fly with night vision over there, so.
I can rent it, yeah. I can get you some. I don't use them personally, but I know people who have access to them, yeah.
People.
Yeah, we can make that happen, definitely. I mean, first of all, I would schedule something, and you should fly over. Yeah. Because I'm sure we can make a ton of cool content, and we can do real still shooting in Czech Republic. It's not a problem. We also had, I don't know if you know the guy, Calvin Lim. He trained with Tactical Response a lot, and now he's also, I think, training. Anyways, we had him here. He did a bunch of classes in Czech Republic. I'm sure we wouldn't have an issue to fill them up completely. That would be cool. I know all the ranges and instructors in Czech Republic, so
that's awesome. I'd love to come out.
Something.
I'd love to fly out. I'm flying over to England here in a little bit, and then I got to come back. But yeah, I'll definitely when Corona is however that's whenever that's resolved or more over, I would like to fly out and go to some games over there, and that would be up for your recommendation. Which one would be, best or good, or one of the larger ones maybe?
We'll help you out with that. Yeah,
but, it'd be fun.
If those are allowed, once traveling is allowed, let's hope these are allowed as well.
Is Corona affecting a bunch of events there and people shutting them down?
Nothing is
all of them. Nothing's happening. We have to make private games
geez.
at this point. There's a couple people.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's rough.
I have one fun question for you.
Okay.
How often did you get hit while playing airsoft, and how does it feel to get shot by a 14-year-old? Because I'm sure that
yeah. Well, so I at the most recent event, I think I died 4 times. But we only got into contact maybe 6 times total. Kind of like what you said, it's running around for hours until you see someone, and there was some of that at the American Milsim event, especially at night. A lot of people left. Yeah, there was a lot of, we would get somewhere, our teammates would run in, be like, where are they? Because it's a huge field, and it was hard to find people sometimes. But I don't mind, who kills me. It's fine. At the end of the day, everybody's killable. Anyone can get shot, no matter how well you're trained. I had my Pano night vision, my Gucci 416 with an Ingall laser, and I got killed by someone who didn't have night vision with a handgun in a building. So it can happen. Anything can happen if you let your guard down, if you don't check your corners, if you don't. He was just hiding in the house in the dark, and I didn't clear the house. Our team didn't clear the house enough. He was literally in a corner and came through and shot all of us pretty much. But great learning experience. We didn't check the house entirely. We didn't hold perimeter. But yeah, it's fine. I mean, it happens, and you just learn from it, and then you get bandaged up, or you respawn and go again.
I think that's one of the things airsoft players don't really understand. It's not about the gear, but it's everything around the gear. I mean, as long as you have a sidearm that's working, it doesn't make that much of a difference. Of course, if you are talking like precision shot at 80 meters, of course that makes difference. But if we are in the CQB, the gear, what are the priorities? I'm sure you know it's like tactics, mindset, tactics, strategy, and then it's gear, something like that?
Something like that. Yep. That sounds about right. But airsoft is usually gear, and then tactics, strategy, mindset.
Yeah, exactly. It's a fashion show. We are coming back full circle. It's a fashion show.
Yeah, well, and the gun, the real still world too. I absolutely agree. There's a lot of that. Guys will go to the range twice a week, and each day take a different pattern cry pant. They'll go spend $500 on crazy cry pants, and I'm like, bro, you can't even shoot that well. Like, the pants aren't helping you shoot. Like, I'm sorry, like, they're not. So we have that too. It's
get
for
training
sure.
First.
Yes, just wear your jeans and train. But that's my position, at least.
Yeah. All right, Lucas, we're getting to the 1 hour 10 mark.
Awesome.
Before we close it off, can you let people know where they can find your stuff?
Yeah, so our YouTube, T.REX ARMS, I'm sure some of y'all have seen that, but I'm very active on Instagram, with my Instagram being T.REX ARMS, and then we have our company account, T.REX ARMS, and we actually publish stuff there. I try to post twice a day, and then our T.REX account posts twice a day, so while we do YouTube videos, it really depends on our schedule. Like, we try to do once a week, once every other week, but now it's like once a month with the way things are, but we still post on Instagram, or when we get new real steel firearms, we show those, like this Spectre I have right here. When we went to the American Milsim event, we posted a bunch of stuff there. So just staying more up to date with our Instagram is the way to go, and then our YouTube, and then the company website, trex-arms.com, trex-arms.com is where we sell all of our stuff, and we have some other videos, and we've got a big. I actually just taught a real steel rifle class on Saturday, and we're going to be editing that up and putting that on our site for free. The video will probably end up being about 3 or 4 hours of everything, all the drills, all the teaching, all the corrections. You can see me fail. I failed at a couple drills, and we're just going to put that out for free. So You know, safety, weapon manipulation, which can obviously translate back to milsim and airsoft. If you do want to have your finger off the trigger and muzzle awareness, which you should, then, you know, the video might be helpful. And so, yeah, just Instagram's good to go, and our YouTube as well.
Do you also do podcasts?
We do a weekly YouTube show, and then that also gets published to some podcasts, and then I want to start my own at some point. I just haven't had time yet, and then I go on podcasts like y'all's. So that's been great.
Perfect, because I'm sure we should definitely get another one going, because I didn't touch not even the half of the questions I had here, but
yeah, absolutely.
We kind of have to keep it concise, I guess. So
yeah.
Next time.
Just let me know when. I'll be around.
All right, then. Thanks for joining, and we see you guys, and hopefully you as well, Lucas, on the next podcast.
Awesome. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for joining, and yeah, it was a pleasure.
See ya.
Yep.
See ya.
Bye.